Hey techies, welcome back to DemoHub Pod, exploring the cutting edge of tech and AI.
Powered by AI, of course.
Of course, powered by AI. And today, well, I think it's safe to say we're diving into something that's already on your radar.
Probably keeping you up at night, even.
Maybe.
Yeah,
How AI is changing the game for all of us tech professionals.
it's true.
Yeah.
We're at a point now where AI is, weaving its way into like every corner of the tech world,
Right.
from how we write code to the kind of projects that are actually getting funded.
Absolutely. And we've got a ton of research and reports and even some real-world examples to kind of dig into today.
Nice.
Gartner, the AI Index report, Intel, Amazon.
We got it all.
You name it, we got it.
Mm-hmm.
But rather than getting bogged down in all the, technical jargon,
Right.
our goal today is to figure out what this all means for you,
You got it.
the people actually building and using this technology.
That's us.
That's us. All right, so let's just jump right in. One thing that really caught my eye was Gartner talking about Emergent AI as a major tech trend.
Oh, yeah, it's a big one.
But they're not just saying it's cool tech, right?
Right.
They're pushing tech leaders to think about the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you actually use this to gain a competitive edge?
That's the question, isn't it? I mean, understanding the technology is only half the battle. The real, I guess what's really interesting is figuring out how to apply these new tools to solve real problems, to create actual value.
So it's not enough to just be like a tech whiz. You got to be a business-savvy tech whiz.
Exactly. You got to have both.
Yeah.
And speaking of big changes, the AI Index report found that funding for generative AI has skyrocketed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're talking 8-fold increase.
Eightfold.
Yeah, landing at a massive $25.2 billion.
Wow. Okay. So that's a pretty clear signal that that businesses are seeing generative AI as a game changer, right? But I'm guessing it's not all, sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
What does this kind of investment mean for like the average tech worker?
Well, it's a double-edged sword in a lot of ways. The AI Index report actually found that overall AI job postings have dipped a bit.
No, that doesn't sound so good. So is AI coming for our jobs after all? Should we all be dusting off our resumes?
Not so fast. Not so fast.
Okay.
While some traditional roles might be evolving, there's been a huge spike in companies using AI to, cut costs and boost revenue. What this suggests, though, is that the nature of tech jobs is shifting. They're becoming more specialized in some areas
Okay.
and more integrated with AI in others.
So maybe less robots stealing our jobs and
Yeah.
more robots changing our jobs.
There you go. There you go. That's a better way to put it.
Okay.
And a big part of navigating this shift, I think, is understanding how to design and implement AI systems that actually work with people,
Yeah.
not against them.
Right.
And this idea of human-centered design is, it's popping up everywhere these days.
Yeah. Human-centered design. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
We need to be building AI that helps us become better at what we do, not replace us altogether.
Exactly. We don't want to be obsolete. Right. And we're already seeing some really interesting real-world examples of this collaboration.
Yeah.
Intel Labs, for instance, they're doing some cool work with projects like ACTate. It's a system originally designed to help Stephen Hawking communicate.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. So AI can be a powerful tool for accessibility, helping people overcome limitations.
Absolutely. And they've also got this project called Oscar, which is a conversational AI designed specifically for education.
So not just for scientists and researchers, but also for students, like in the classroom.
Yes, exactly. And both ACTate and Oscar show how important user-centered design is, especially when we're talking about AI in education.
Right.
Intel worked really closely with educators to make sure these tools are actually effective, that they're helpful in real learning environments.
So it's not just about building flashy tech.
Right.
It's about understanding how people will actually use it and making sure it genuinely improves their lives.
There you go. Precisely. And speaking of the real world, one trend we're seeing is this rise of what they call multimodal AI. Researchers in China have developed this thing called EMU3.
EMU3.
EMU3, and it's a model that can actually learn from images, text, and videos all at the same time.
Wait, hold on. It can process all those different types of data simultaneously.
Yeah, all at once.
That's a pretty big deal, right?
It is. It is a big deal. And what's even more impressive is that they did it using a simple, scalable approach. This kind of technology has huge implications for us as tech professionals because it means we can tackle increasingly complex projects using more versatile AI systems.
So if I'm working on a project that involves analyzing user behavior, for example,
Right.
I could potentially use an AI like this to process video of their interactions, text from their reviews, and images of the product they're using all at once.
Exactly, all at the same time. And as these systems get more and more sophisticated, we really need to be thinking about the skills we need to stay ahead of the curve.
Right. So how do we, as tech professionals, how do we prepare for this future where AI is so deeply integrated into our work? I mean, should we all be rushing to become AI specialists?
That's a great question. And to answer that, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some other trends that are shaping the AI landscape.
Okay.
Like this idea of decentralized training, for example,
Okay.
and what it means for, I guess the power dynamics in the tech world. Welcome back to DemoHub Pod. Before we jumped into this whole idea of decentralized training, you were asking about whether we all need to become AI specialists.
Right, yeah. With all these advancements, it's kind of, I don't know, intimidating. Like, do I need to go back to school, get a PhD in machine learning to stay relevant?
Yeah, I get that. It's a common concern. But honestly, I don't think it's necessarily about becoming an AI expert, like in the traditional sense. It's more about developing what we call AI literacy.
AI literacy. What does that mean exactly?
So think of it as like understanding the fundamentals, how AI works at a high level, what its strengths and limitations are, and most importantly, how you can use it to solve problems in your, specific domain.
So even if I'm not like building AI algorithms from scratch,
Yeah.
I need to be able to like understand how they work and how they can be applied to my work.
Precisely. And this literacy will not only make you a better technologist, but it'll also help you communicate more effectively with, colleagues and clients
Okay.
about AI.
That makes sense. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and pretend AI isn't changing things.
Right.
We need to be able to have like intelligent conversations about its potential, but also, its risks.
Exactly. And to illustrate this point, let's look at another real-world example, right?
Okay.
Amazon's doing some interesting work with what they call a human-in-the-loop system for reviewing how their machine learning models are making decisions.
Human in the loop. That sounds kind of sci-fi. What does that even mean?
So imagine you have an AI system that's making predictions.
Okay.
Like whether someone qualifies for a loan or, what products they might like.
Right.
In the past, these decisions were often made by these black box algorithms that were like really hard to understand, even for the people who built them.
That's a recipe for disaster, right? Especially if there's like bias baked into the system that nobody can see or fix.
Exactly. So what Amazon is doing is using AI tools to explain why their models make certain predictions.
Okay.
But here's the key part. They're not just relying on the AI for this. They're bringing in human reviewers to look at these explanations and make sure they make sense.
So it's like a system of checks and balances.
Yeah.
Humans like double checking the AI's work to make sure it's not going off the rails.
That's a great way to put it. And to make these explanations more understandable, they're using this specific technique called SHA values.
SHAP values, what are those?
Okay, so they essentially show how much each factor contributes to the AI's final prediction.
Okay.
So if we're talking about a loan application,
Right.
a SHAP value could show like how much someone's income or credit score influenced the AI's decision.
So it's like breaking down the AI's, thought process.
Right.
Into smaller, more digestible chunks
Exactly.
that humans can actually like understand and evaluate.
Exactly. And by presenting these HAP values in a visual way, it becomes much easier for human reviewers to spot, potential biases and make sure the AI is making fair and justifiable decisions.
This is a pretty powerful example of how we can like combine the strengths of AI and human intelligence.
Yeah.
AI can crunch numbers and analyze huge data sets at like lightning speed.
All right.
But humans are still better at, understanding context, recognizing those ethical nuances.
Absolutely.
And making those like judgment calls that require a deeper understanding of, the world.
Absolutely. And by bringing those two forces together,
Yeah.
we can create more, robust and reliable AI systems.
Okay.
Systems that are not only accurate and efficient, but also transparent, accountable, and aligned with our values.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this idea of AI literacy can be applied to all sorts of roles in tech.
Right.
It's not about like becoming a data scientist overnight. It's about understanding the principles of AI.
Right.
And learning how to like use it responsibly and effectively.
Exactly. And speaking of shifting the landscape, one of the most interesting trends we're seeing is this emergence of decentralized training and open source AI models.
Decentralized training. So instead of a few like big tech companies controlling the development of AI, it's becoming more I don't know, distributed.
That's the idea. One example is Prime Intellect's Intellect 1.
Intellect T1.
It's a 10 billion parameter model that's being trained in a decentralized fashion.
10 billion parameters. That sounds
Yeah.
huge. What's the significance of that number?
Well, the number of parameters often reflects the model's complexity and potential.
Okay.
But what's really groundbreaking about Intellect Wayne is that it's not being trained in a single massive data center.
Right.
Owned by, some tech giant.
Yeah.
Instead, it's harnessing the combined computing power of a network of individual contributors and smaller companies.
So it's like a community-driven approach to AI development.
Yeah.
A kind of like grassroots effort to, democratize access to these powerful technologies.
That's a great way to put it. And this has the potential to really disrupt the traditional power dynamics in the tech industry. Imagine a future where building cutting-edge AI isn't limited to a select few.
That sounds amazing. But it also raises a lot of questions like, how will this shift affect the skills we need to stay ahead of the curve? If development is becoming more decentralized, do we need to be more specialized or more general in our skill sets?
It's a tricky question, and honestly, we're still in the early stages of figuring it all out. But I think we'll see a growing demand for both specialists and generalists. You'll have experts who go really deep into specific areas of AI, but you'll also need people who can bridge the gaps between disciplines and think holistically about how AI systems fit into the larger, technological ecosystem.
So it's not an either situation.
Yeah.
We need both, like depth and breadth of knowledge to really thrive in this new world.
Exactly. And I think the most valuable skill you can develop is, honestly, a commitment to lifelong learning. The pace of innovation in AI is incredible, and the skills that are in demand today might be, outdated tomorrow.
So we need to be adaptable, curious, and constantly pushing ourselves to learn new things.
Right.
Otherwise, we risk getting left behind.
Right. And that leads us to another interesting development, the impact of AI on hardware design.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just changing the software we build,
Right.
but also the chips that power it all.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading something about Google using AI to design their TPUs.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty wild, right? AI designing the hardware that runs AI.
It is pretty mind-blowing, and they're actually seeing compounding benefits from this approach.
Really?
As their AI system, AlphaChip, designs more efficient TPUs, those TPUs can then be used to train even more powerful versions of AlphaChip,
Oh, wow.
creating this virtuous cycle of improvement.
So it's like AI is, bootstrapping itself
Yeah,
to new levels of performance. That's both exciting and a little scary.
I know, right? And this brings us to another key point. The lines between hardware and software development are blurring. It's no longer enough to be a specialist in just one or the other.
So what does this mean for someone who's really focused on hardware design?
Yeah.
Do they need to become AI experts now too?
Not necessarily an expert, but they do need to develop a deeper understanding of, how AI algorithms work and how they can be optimized for specific hardware platforms.
So it's all about seeing the connections, right?
Yeah,
Understanding how different layers of the tech stack interact and influence each other.
exactly. We need to be able to collaborate effectively with software engineers, data scientists, AI researchers to create systems that are truly greater than the sum of their parts.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From emergent AI and generative AI to human-centered design, decentralized training, and the impact on hardware. It seems like the AI revolution is touching every aspect of the tech world.
It really is. And while it can feel overwhelming at times, I think it's also incredibly exciting. These changes are creating a whole new landscape of possibilities. And for those who are prepared to adapt and learn, the opportunities are endless.
I agree. It's a time of immense change and disruption, but it's also a time of, incredible innovation and progress.
Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial question.
Okay.
What do you think about all of this?
Right. This is where we want to hear from you, our listeners. How are these advancements in AI affecting your work? What excites you? What concerns you? So we've talked about a lot of big picture trends and kind of abstract concepts, but I'm also curious about the practical side of things. What are some specific steps that our listeners can take right now to start building their, AI literacy and preparing for this future of work?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say embrace the power of online learning.
Yeah.
There are tons of fantastic resources available, from free introductory courses on platforms like Coursera and edX to, more specialized programs offered by universities and even tech companies.
It's amazing how much knowledge is out there just waiting to be tapped into. You don't need to go back to school for a full degree to start learning about AI and how it applies to your field.
Exactly. Another thing I'd recommend is to, experiment with different AI tools and platforms. There are so many like open source libraries, frameworks, and cloud-based services available that you can start playing around with building small projects and just getting a feel for how these technologies work in practice.
Like learning by doing, right? The
Exactly.
best way to understand a new technology is to get your hands dirty and start experimenting.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to start small. You don't need to build the next chat GPT to gain valuable experience.
Mm.
Focus on projects that are relevant to your interests or, your current work and gradually build your skills from there.
It's about finding those like low-hanging fruit, those small wins that can give you a sense of momentum and boost your confidence, as you learn.
Exactly. And as you gain experience, don't be afraid to share your knowledge and, collaborate with others. Join online communities, attend meetups, and even contribute to, open source projects.
Mm.
The AI community is incredibly vibrant and welcoming. And there's a lot to be learned from connecting with other people who are, as passionate about this technology.
It's that old saying, right? Like if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
AI is such a vast and rapidly evolving field that we're all going to need each other's help to navigate it successfully.
Couldn't agree more. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to remember that while the technological advancements in AI are, incredible,
Yeah.
the real power lies in how we choose to use them.
Right.
It's up to us as technologists and as, human beings to guide the development and deployment of AI in a way that benefits, I guess society as a whole.
It's not just about building cool tech, it's about building a better future.
Mm-hmm.
And that requires us to be, thoughtful, responsible, and ethical in our approach to AI.
Well said. So to our listeners out there,
Yeah, what do you think?
how are these advancements in AI shaping your work and your vision of the future?
We'd love to hear your perspectives, your hopes, and your concerns. Head over to the comment section and, share your thoughts with us. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of AI and its impact on technology professionals, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into the cutting edge of tech and AI. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.